Why do you keep falling in love with ghosts? Why do you chase the ones who vanish and call it love? Maybe the real ghost wasn't your last relationship. Maybe it was your father. Maybe your father was there. He paid school fees. He picked you up from school. He cracked jokes at dinner. He wore a wedding ring. But deep inside you, you knew he wasn't really there. Not emotionally. Not when it counted. Not when you were crying or scared or needing to be seen. He was probably physically present, but emotionally unavailable. And what you learned from that absence wasn't just pain. You learned a definition of love. Love equals longing. Love equals proving yourself. Love equals waiting for someone to come back. So, there's a song many of us have carried in our bodies. It sounds like, nothing compares. Nothing compares to you. Sinéad O'Connor sang that line with heartbreak in her voice. Her pain was real, raw, and sadly, we know she lived with deep emotional wounds. But here's the thing. So many of us are still singing that song. Not on the radio, but in our relationships. Every time we long for someone who won't choose us. Every time we hope a man will change. Every time we stay emotionally hooked to someone who is already gone. Nothing compares to you becomes the anthem for the woman raised on emotional absence. Psychologists call this the father wound. It doesn't always come from abandonment. Sometimes it's just a father who showed up logistically, but never really emotionally. This father doesn't ask you how you feel. He doesn't hold space for your joy or pain. He doesn't validate your voice. So, you grow up in an emotional drought and start chasing men who only offer you sips of water. You mistake neglect for mystery, hot and cold for chemistry, distance for desire, because that's what you were trained to believe love felt like. So let's talk about 5 things your father didn't give you that you may still be unconsciously chasing in emotionally unavailable partners. 1. Affirmation. He didn't tell you you're enough. Now you chase men who leave you questioning your worth, hoping one day they'll see and affirm you with presence. 2. Consistency. He didn't show up emotionally again and again without you having to ask. Now you find yourself craving breadcrumbs from partners who disappear and reappear on their terms. 3. Emotional curiosity. He didn't ask, how do you feel? Now you're with men who don't know what to do with your depth because you learned to be silent anyway. 4. Safety and vulnerability. He wasn't a safe space. So now you bond with people who make your nervous system anxious and call it butterflies. 5. Being fully seen. He never truly saw you. Now you try harder. You perform. You give. And you wonder why no one sees your soul. But let me say this very clearly to you. You're not broken. You are repeating what was modeled for you as a child. And once you see it, you don't have to keep repeating it. But here's the deeper truth. You're not in love with these men. You're in love with the idea of finally being chosen, of finally being enough for someone who stays, someone who texts back, someone who calls you home. But these men aren't home. They are echoes, ghosts, and fragments of a wound that's still open. So, what if you stopped chasing people who can't see you? What if you stopped performing for love? What if you stopped trying to finish the sentence your father left incomplete? You don't need a man to prove you're lovable. You don't need closure from a ghost. You need connection with yourself. So nothing compares to him? No, nothing compares to you. You when you finally remember who you were before the waiting began. You, when you choose wholeness over performance. You, when you decide the love you've been chasing has to begin with you. This is not the end of your story. This is the beginning of a new one. Together we heal, and together we grow. If this resonated with you, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if somebody you think needs to hear this, please share it with them. Until next time, bye.